How you doing today, Love Bay family? We're back again. It's the Champions Table. I'm your host, Nigel, and we have an amazing day today. Amazing guest again who has a powerful, impactful story to share with us. And we're going to get into it, man. We're going to get into it. So, as you know, we have intentional conversations every single time we're together. Real conversation with real people about real life experiences so that you can be empowered, so that I can be empowered, so that this community can be empowered to make positive changes in the future and also in the present. All right. So I'll tell you who we have on today. Mr. Landra uh, is a multifaceted entrepreneur, author, and creator. He owns and operates a 5 principal cuisine, a vegan meal prep, and towards holistic living. Lanra also operates a 5 principles cleaning, which serves commercial properties. Lanra is a creative pursuits extend into the world of storytelling. He recently published 2 books, The 27th Letter, Revised, and The Timekeeper of Justice, which you will hear about both of those and how those connect to his real life story. The latter is a compelling series inspired by his experiences attending a young man's murder trials and supporting those navigating the justice system. Lanre also brings his cinematic talents to projects including film directing and documenting a high-rise construction project through drone photography and interviews. Lanra is deeply committed to the community growth and evolution and exemplifies by his public speaking engagements, podcast, The 27th Letters, and children's books, which explores themes of love, caregiving, and mental health. He resides in Toronto with his family, continuing to live by the mantra of becoming the change he envisions in the world. And what we usually say every time we get started is men talk, women talk, but the truth can't lie and the truth will set you free. Please join me in welcoming my brother Landra.
Thank you so much, Nice. Thank you. And in
Yeah,
proper
man.
saying this proper pronunciation, my name is Landry. Just
Land
think of
Ray,
the
okay, like a
yeah,
ray
just
of
think of
light.
the land, and the ray of sunshine.
All
Land
right,
Ray.
Land Ray. All right, I
Yeah,
got it
yeah,
now.
yeah.
Got it now. I ain't gonna forget that.
Thank you for the introduction, my brother.
Yeah, no worries, man. So first and foremost, man, how are you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm good. Just hopefully the Jays lock close out the deal. I'm watching. I got the
Okay,
game in the
okay.
background, trying to make sure that these guys close out the deal. But aside from that, all is well. Any day above ground is a good day.
Yeah, exactly. Any day above ground is a good day, man. I see you're a Blue Jays fan. A lot of people are tuned into that right now, but we got some people tuned in here too, because
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
you got an
I grew
amazing
up.
story to share.
I was around when they won the World Series, so like that's way back then.
Yeah, yeah. Me too, man. I was around. I never forget that, man. I never forget that moment, man. I remember it like it
That
was.
Joe Carter home run was
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, man. It was amazing, man. Yeah, so we're so thankful to have you here today, man, on the Champions Table, man, to really have, a real conversation about your life experience and how that has made you the amazing father and person you are today, you know? So I just
Mhm.
want to start off, man, by asking you, because I realized that in reading your bio that you grew up in Nigeria, man. Grew up in Nigeria,
Yeah,
10
the
years old,
first,
man.
yeah, the
So I
first.
want to ask you, brother. I want to ask you, I guess my first question to ask you is how did being raised in Nigeria affirm your identity, man?
Well, I mean, I was 10 years old. The first 10 years of my life was in Nigeria.
Right.
My dad was already up here, so for the
Mhm.
longest time, I only seen him once at the age of four. At 4 years old, myself and my mother went to Montreal, which is where he initially lived, and
Mhm.
we stayed with him for like, I don't know, I can't remember, a few weeks. But aside from that, that's my only experience with my father. But so my whole existence in Nigeria was just myself and my mother, and
Mm.
she was an entrepreneur. She was a pastry chef, so she had her own business, and she was very successful actually. in
Hmm.
Nigeria. I actually went to a private school in Nigeria because that's how successful she was. But yeah, but a lot of it was spent with like to have my aunt watching me because she was so busy, or we had a housekeeper at one time, you know. So yeah, I mean, Nigeria is, it was simple, you know. It was simple life, you know, push tire life. You know, I don't know if you, I don't know what your background is, but
Yeah.
you know, as a child in
Push that. Like,
Nigeria,
what does that mean? What does that mean? Break it down for me, bro.
pushing tires, yo, that's how we
Yeah.
did. That's what we did as children in Nigeria. You know, just
Okay. Nice.
those
Nice.
the tires without the rims in it, just a rubber tire, playing with it, pushing it with a stick, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
running
Yeah.
up and down, you know. So yeah, that's it. But the it's also a serious place. Like people, they're very principled people. I remember one time. This is a side story just to tell you how serious it is when it comes to just being a upstanding person. You know, I know a lot of Nigerians nowadays get the whole stigma of being scammers and whatnot, but for the actual people within the country, that not the people that come here and take advantage of the system here, but the people within the country, they're very principled people. Like
Hmm.
I remember one person must have been stupid enough to steal just a little radio, like a little radio. Like when I say a little radio, it doesn't have a cassette. It was that? It was just a little radio. And if you steal and some you get caught, the people start yelling the word "ole ole," which means thief, thief. So this one particular person stole a radio, and the whole neighborhood chased him down.
Wow.
And it's sad to say, he ended up getting killed.
Wow.
Like I'm
Wow.
telling you, like mothers, fathers, like they put a tie around his, just chopped him up. Like it was crazy. It was wild. Like, this is something I witnessed as a child in Nigeria.
Right.
So yeah, you know, like
Yeah.
you don't want to be a thief in those parts back then. Anyways, like there was instant justice, and
Community justice.
yeah, so like the village don't play. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, like I remember going to school the next day. The man's body was he was half alive, like cause they chopped him up. Like it was bad, bro. It
Wow.
was bad. I laugh about it now, but you know, looking back, it's like, oh, it was gruesome, you know. But yeah, but you don't. That's where I grew up, you know. Like
Yeah. Yeah. So it seems like based on that you were raised by a village because you said there were times when your aunt raised you
yeah,
and
yeah.
your mom was very entrepreneurial, which was kind of lets me know how you got into you already had that entrepreneurial spirit in you
Oh,
from your
definitely.
mom because you saw what your mom did.
Oh, definitely. Well, for me in particular, you know, after I got out of prison, I had to no choice but to become an entrepreneur because with a criminal record, you can't. It's hard to get a job. I couldn't even get. I can't. The other day, I was thinking about getting a little overnight shift, couple of hours at Walmart, and I actually knew the manager because he seen me often enough based on me going to get items for my meal prep service and whatnot. So you know, I
Hmm.
must approach him. I'm like, hey, well, you know, think about, you know, getting a couple of hours here because it's like walking distance from my house.
Right.
So he actually got me hired and everything, but then they ran my name through the system. It's like, oh, you can't work here. So
Mm,
I couldn't even work at Walmart if I wanted to. So
right.
like these are the obstacles that's got me, that pushed me to the entrepreneurial life. So it's like being an
That's big.
entrepreneur is life and death for me.
That's big. Okay, so let's get there because you kind of hinted on it, man. So tell us that journey, man. So how did you, you kind of in your bio, you kind of give a background story on how you grew up and so forth. So how did that moment happen where you went from being a free man to a not free man?
So migrating to Canada, or to Toronto,
Mm,
exact to be exact, you know, it was a difficult transition because you this whole, you know, I mean, I spoke English, but you know, it's like I still have the accent. So 10 years old, 11 years old, you know, trying to fit in, and so on and
mhm.
so forth. And then having to deal with my father. So my father was physically abusive towards me after I migrated here. So you know that took a toll.
Your biological father.
Yeah.
Got
So
it.
that took a toll on our relationship, and you know, I mean, it made me prone to being violent. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I found myself as years went on. Another thing that happened was my mom, after my sister was born, because there's a 10-year gap between myself and my siblings. I have two younger siblings. So a couple of years after we migrated here, she had my brother, and then shortly after she had my sister. But after my sister's birth, she they say it's postpartum depression, but I think it's more than that. You know, because in the Western world, you know, people they always chalk up spiritual things to you know some psychosis issue. You know what I mean? But
Mental
anyways,
health or mental, yeah,
yeah, yeah.
mental, yeah.
So they say according to them that she's schizophrenic and whatnot, but I know it's deeper than that. So she struggled with that, with her mental health. She started to struggle with her mental health, and then that spiraled into drinking and so on and so forth. And then eventually, her and my dad obviously broke up. He left the house. So, like at the age of 16, you know, maybe six, so shortly 6 years after I arrived here, I had my mom dealing with that issue, I had my siblings, and my dad was gone. So, early on, I had this responsibility
Mm-hmm.
heaped
Because
on
you
my
were the
lap.
oldest.
Yeah, I was the oldest, right? So like
Mm-hmm.
there's a 10-year gap. So that was the blessing within that I'm I was old enough to kind of look after my siblings,
Mm-hmm.
and I did the best I could for many years. You know, navigating through all that, going to school, high school, and then after high school, I always worked. So I worked. One of the first jobs I had was at McDonald's. I used to work at McDonald's at Victoria Park in Gerard, and which is not far from my high school, which was near McNeil, the high school that I went to. So I graduated high school and then worked various jobs. Left McDonald's, and most of the jobs I did was mainly in the kitchen, right? So, but I mean, I needed more, but I had a lot on my plate, and then me and my girlfriend at the time, who was my high school sweetheart, we ended up having a daughter. So that added to what I had to be responsible for. So
So
eventually,
let me ask you this, Sam, before you go further. So
mhm.
even in the midst of everything that was happening, you still had the opportunity to build an intentional relationship with your high school sweetheart.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Like it
So
was.
let me ask
It
you this
was.
question. Let me ask you this question because we're gonna get there. And I guess I want you to share this. Is it because of you saw what you wanted and because you didn't have that in your immediate relationship that kind of even motivated you more to make more intentional relationships and have this high school sweetheart and build this relationship with her?
Well, for me, meeting her, she came from a home where there was two parents. You know what I
Mm,
mean? So
okay.
I sort of now I know better that just because you have two parents in the house doesn't mean the house is stable. Which is far from the truth. Later on I found out it wasn't. But I was under the impression, hey, this is a stable home. She comes from a stable, you know what I mean, background. So you know what I mean, and that's I'm into her. So yes, we didn't live together. So even after the birth of my daughter, my daughter and I lived with her. Because again, my home was pretty much in shambles. Trying to navigate with my mom and so on and so forth. We never, prior to the year 2000, we never lived in housing, but eventually, because of our situation, we ended up in housing in Palmer Court, just up the street from Victoria Park in Gerard, which is where we used to live. So we moved to I don't know if you're familiar with Palmer Court, which is just in between Eglinton and St. Clair, off of Victoria Park. So yeah, we lived there, and with my daughter, when my daughter was born, you know, in retrospect, I should have moved her mother in with me. Not, I know that, but I didn't, because again, I was just wanted to separate the two homes. You know what I mean? Because I always felt that the home that my mother's daughter came from was a lot more stable than the chaos, which is my home.
Mhm.
So yeah, but my intention was like I didn't, like I moved. I've since moved on. You know what I mean? To have children with another woman, but my intention was to have all my children with one woman. You know what I mean? Like I'm
Mhm.
not really into the gallivanting thing like that when it comes to having children. you
I hear
know.
that. I hear
So,
that. I hear
so
that.
yeah, so every intention, but I never really took the steps, you know, even though it was in my mind, but I never really took the steps, you know.
Got it.
And even being a young man, you know, and not having, you know, a man to show me what it is to be a man, I still, you know, we did our thing on the side, you know, cheating on each other, you know. So there was those that toxic aspect of that too, you know. So yeah, you know, like again, I had all the intentions to just have children with one woman, but it never played out like that because after I got incarcerated, she went on and did her own thing, and I had to, you know, endure parental alienation and so on and so forth, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's
yeah,
that's big,
so yeah,
man.
so basically back to the story, getting back to me, how um how I got incarcerated. So basically dealing with all the stuff I had to deal with in my post high school, and then just trying to be find my way as far as, you know, because I couldn't go to school. There's many times I sat there and was like, I want to go to school, like, but I want to go to college, but I couldn't because, you know, bills have to get paid. Like, I have this household to look after.
So you were
So
the one. You became the one to support the household, is what you're telling me.
yeah, mainly like
Wow.
like the rent was paid by my mom to her Ontario Works,
Through
but
assistance. Yeah.
everything else was on me. You know what I mean? Like making sure my brother and sister are
Groceries.
good and so on and so forth. Like just the day-to-day stuff, groceries, all that was on me.
Right.
So, you know, and then even then I had a car note, so, you know, which compounded the financial toll I had to deal with, you know,
Right.
because after the birth of my daughter, my firstborn, I found it important to have a car, especially in North America at wintertime. Like I always found it crazy to have a child and not don't have a conveyance or car to, you know what I mean, move around in, especially on wintertime. So
Yeah.
I felt that I needed a car, so I got a car back then. So that just added to my financial toll, and then in me trying to apply pressure to the back then I was a kitchen manager. I'm not a prep manager for Casey's Bar and Grills, like a sports bar type of spot.
Yeah.
So I was
Yeah.
trying to get I know I was applying pressure trying to get a raise, you know, and then eventually that raise turned into me getting fired because, you know, I wasn't taking no for an answer. And then eventually I kind of turned to the streets because, you know, just to give you a background, like I said, I was working in the restaurant. You know, I smoked a little weed, you know. That's about it. But some of the people that knew me in the restaurant knew that I lived in Palmer Court, and if they needed weed, they could always ask me to go get some weed. And then that eventually turned me to say, you know what, I'm gonna pick up a quarter pound of weed and sell it to them. So when I got fired, that made me say, you know what, I'm gonna try the street life thing for a while, you know, because most of my friends, that's what they did. I was always working, you know, not every one of my friends, but a good majority of them was been in the streets selling and, you know, whatever. But I never sold. To be clear, I never sold nothing. I didn't use myself, so that's
Right.
just my motto. So it's like weed, you know, that's pretty much
So
it.
where did that come from? That motto that you weren't going to do that. Where did that come from? Even though
Why?
you've seen it around
You
you.
know, cause I think it would be hypocritical of me to be out here trying to sell crack and shit that I wouldn't, whatever, coke, whatever, you know what I mean, that I don't use myself when I know it's not good for you. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
You know,
You
the
still
weed
had that
industry.
layer of realization of what would be good and what wouldn't be good. You still had that.
Definitely, like I've always had a good heart.
Brain.
Like I'm not like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, like nah, we don't. I'm not doing that. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So within a year of me being out in the streets, I got into altercation on the block, which led to some folks coming back to retaliate, and then somebody died when they tried to try to. I was actually, you know, this is documented. I was actually about to get assaulted by a bunch of guys, like a good 10 people. But, you know, I just so happened that day I had a knife on me, and usually I don't carry weapons. And I'm being honest with you, it just so happened that like I had a knife that I kept in my car, and that day I had to bring my car into the garage. So I'm like, yo, I don't want to leave this knife in the car. So I had the knife in my pocket. It's just like, it was a coincidence by chance that everything, the way things transpired, you know, it was written. It was written, you know. So unfortunately, a young man got stabbed, and I stabbed this guy once, and he died. And again, coming from a broken home and not having the financial resources, I had to use a public defender, you know what I mean, legal aid. And a case that should have been self-defense, I ended up again convicted and sentenced to life in prison, you know.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, so but eventually, after almost 8 years, I won my appeal. But while I was incarcerated, I had to deal with a lot of parental alienation. Like I said, the mother, of my daughter, you know, she took the back door as soon as I got locked up. And
Okay, so let's talk about that, man. So you being there, your daughter was how old when you were incarcerated? How old was
she,
your daughter at the time?
she was just a year and a half when I got locked up.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, yeah, she was just a year and a half. So you could tell, like, in that year and a half, I was out in the streets. Cause like prior to that, when my mother's daughter was pregnant, I was working. That's how I was able to get a car. Cause I had a steady income.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then in that year and a half, just being on the streets, I don't know how anybody else does the street life things, like, because there's so
Yeah.
much stuff that comes with it. I don't know how people survive it, because it's like
Right.
I couldn't deal with it, like, and I had to, you know, end up getting into it with people and got caught up and arrested for it.
Yeah. But so here's a powerful thing that I'm thinking about, man. Where when did that moment come for you when you realize, okay, wait a minute, my daughter's this age. How do I ensure that I maintain or I keep some type of relationship with my daughter, even though at the present moment I'm incarcerated? Where did that shift or that happen for you to be like, yo, I'm gonna make some type of change to ensure that even though I'm in this situation, I still keep stay connected with my daughter? How did that happen?
So, it was like the whole family. If you pay attention, like I'm a family man. You know what I mean? I'm a
Yeah,
family man. So just being incarcerated, and even looking after my siblings while my mom, you know what I mean, was going through what she's going through,
right.
and now I'm incarcerated and I can't be there for my own child when I was trying to be there for my own siblings. So I really didn't know what the future held. So it was through a conversation with somebody I was incarcerated with, where I said, I was sharing my frustration because, like, literally I'd be calling my daughter's home and they're not picking up the phone and so on and so forth. I went like 5 years while I was incarcerated without even seeing her, and that's all I asked was for me to a mom to let me maintain a relationship with my daughter. I didn't want nothing else. I was okay with her doing whatever she wants to move on. That's fine. I understand the situation. I just wanted to have that relationship with my daughter.
Hmm.
So a friend of mine was like, you know what, why don't you just start writing her, And then that's when I started in 2005, December 2005, December 27, 2005 to be exact. I started writing a letter once a month. And I went up and I continued with the theme of the 27th of every month, sending her a letter, sending her a letter. And then till I got out. She got a letter from me once a month. And even when I got transferred from the maximum security prison, because as a lifer, you have to do 2 years in the maximum security prison before you could cascade down to a medium and lower security. So after I did my 2 years, when I got to Fenbrook, which is a medium security, they had a children's reading program where you get to read, they record you, and you get to read a bedtime story. So they send a book and a recording of you to your child. So that and the letters were sent to her.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing, man. Man, I commend you, man, as a man and as a father to make that commitment, irregardless of your circumstance, man. That takes a lot of courage. You know what I mean? That takes a lot of intentionality and consistency. Because you said you did that. You wrote a letter to your daughter on the 27th of the month, every single month for the amount of duration of the time you were incarcerated, right?
Yes, definitely, definitely. Yeah,
Commitment, bro. Yeah,
I started 2 years, 2.5 years into that bid. You
yeah.
know, this when I got to the penitentiary.
Hmm.
So yeah, I started that, and it helped me a lot. It's therapeutic too, because like I said, and I had to be transparent. I was pretty much, no pun intended, open book, just trying to put down my thoughts of how I feel about her, who I am, just to get it,
Hmm.
give her an idea, because I don't. It was my way of controlling the narrative on who I am.
Awesome. So, Lorraine, let me ask you this, man. Did you, while writing these letters, were there opportunities for your daughter to like write back and respond and so
It
forth?
was it to be quite frank, post prison, a lot of things have been was revealed to me, and I would like to believe, I did believe at one point that the letters were somewhat sacred, but in the household she was living in, it almost seemed like anything that had to do with me was suppressed. And
Mm,
post prison, it was I come to believe that I don't know if those letters were actually read to her. You know what I mean?
right.
So once in a while, I did get a letter from her, but it wasn't like nothing.
Response to, right.
Yeah, nothing. Nothing consistent or nothing. Nothing. You know, nothing. It was really nothing. It was a couple of letters, but that's about it.
Mhm.
That's about it. So
And that's a journey you took and you committed to, irregardless of there being a response or
oh, definitely, definitely, definitely. Like I said, it was therapeutic for me as well, writing those letters.
right, right.
Sending those children's book home.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So it gave you really an opportunity to really reflect on your situation, reflect on who you are as an individual, and really build on, okay, this is the man that I want to be, this is the man I am right now, and this is who I want to be when I'm in the future. Yeah.
definitely. And I think it showed. Whether you want to say God, Allah, the universe, it showed the powers that be, like even within the system, that what, this man does deserve a second chance. And I feel like making those efforts paved the way for me to win my appeal in the long run, because
Yeah.
like when you're writing letters, they read it before it goes out. So by the time I got out, most of the CEOs in there were rooting for me because they knew my heart.
So that's awesome. That's big. That's big, bro. So what
Yeah,
would I let me ask you this. So what has motivated you to stay resilient in spite of life challenges? Going through what you've gone through, man. What has motivated you to stay resilient?
life is a game, but it's not
Mhm.
a game. And me, I'm an athlete when it comes to life. You know what I
Mm,
mean? So like, I'm not one to be like, oh, to give up. Like, you're gonna have to snatch my soul off my body for me to give up.
mhm.
Like, really, no matter where on earth I am, no matter how heavy the burden is, like, you're gonna have to snatch my soul out my body for me to give up. And I don't know where it came from. I think a little bit of has to do with just witnessing what my mom went through, because she was a resilient woman for such a long time. You know what I mean? But eventually the world, got to her, and the situations got to her. So, but I refuse to go out like that.
Yeah.
And like I said, life is a game, but it's not a game.
Mhm.
So,
So tell us the moment, like, because your release. How did that happen? Tell us that moment. Yeah.
what's crazy about it?
Yeah.
So at this point, me and the mother of my daughter, we're okay. Like as time went on, because early on the way the system was, as far as calling, you had to call collect, but later on they got it to a point where you could get prepaid card, so you don't have it doesn't cost the people you're calling.
Hmm.
So I started that happened and gave me a way to kind of call without having to rely on somebody accepting my call.
Right.
So I started, you know, rebuilding a relationship, not anything romantic, just touching base with the mother of my daughter, and through that I'm able to, talk to my daughter a little bit more, and so on and so forth.
Hmm.
And ironically, my appeal, I remember leading up to my appeal, I fasted for 40 days.
Wow.
Okay. So I fasted for
What
40
what
days.
inspired that, bro? Like, what
Pardon?
inspired you? What inspired you to want to fast for 40 days?
I grew up fasting. My
Okay.
mom is a spiritual warrior. Like, she was a prayer.
Okay.
My mom was the mom that would pray over me with a Bible. She would
Wow.
hit me in the chest with a Bible. Like, I don't know if she knew what the future held, but she
Yeah.
knew that we live in a demonic world, right?
Mm.
So I don't know if like, we live in a demonic world. Sorry, my light fell.
Hmm.
we live in a demonic world. So she would always, she was a prayer
She would be
warrior.
the one covering you.
Yeah, she always prayed over me, and just and then even as a young child, she had me fasting, So
Mm.
I remember I was talking to a friend of mine who, ironically, I worked with McDonald's with. Her name is Varen, and somehow I got on the phone. Oh, you know what happened? Her and my daughter went to the same school, and it just so
Mhm.
happened I was talking to my to the mother of my daughter one day, and I spoke to this girl Varen who I haven't spoken to in years, and she's the one that's like, yo, I was telling her about my appeal. She's like, yo, fast. Make sure you fast for 40 days. And that's where the idea came from. So I fasted for 40 days leading up to my appeal.
Wow.
And then I won my appeal. But the funny story is that I did not know I won my appeal.
Really?
No. So in the excitement, because my trial lawyer and the appeal lawyer is two different people, but they speak, right? So my appeal lawyer must have spoken to my trial lawyer and say, hey, well, he won the appeal. So in his excitement, my trial lawyer called the mother of my daughter and
Mm.
told her, "Hey, Landry won his appeal." But what's weird is nobody like there should be paperwork done to get me back to the city because once you win your appeal, you going back, you pretty much going back before the courts and so on and so forth.
Hmm.
So I'm supposed to get transferred back to the city jail. So for like 2 weeks after I won my appeal, I didn't even know I won my appeal.
Wow.
So I called it again, like I told you. I'm able to call because we
Hmm.
have this prepaid call. So I called the mother of my daughter, and I'm talking to, as soon as she picks up, she's like, "Where are you?" I'm like, "Where am I?" I'm like, I couldn't understand the question. I'm like, "Are you stupid? Like, why are you asking where I'm at? You know where I'm at."
Yeah, yeah.
But she was referring to the fact that she knew that I won my appeal, so she thought I was back in the city jail. But I'm like, no,
Right.
I'm in the pen. She's like, yo, your lawyer said you won your appeal. And this is like 2 weeks later. I'm like, what? Yo, I'm like, what? I won my appeal? What? So they like, contacted the people, the heads of the jail, and be like, yo, you guys need to get me out of here, yo. And
So you mean
eventually,
to tell me if you didn't realize that, you would have
yeah,
still been there?
listen, let me tell you something about the system. They're quick to
Crazy,
lock
bro.
you up, but slow
Yeah.
to release you. That's how
Hmm.
it goes. They're quick to lock you up, but slow to release you. You know what I
Wow.
mean? They'll
Yeah.
smear your name. There was no news. There's no news correction or newspaper article saying, "Hey, by the way, we made a mistake on Larry's conviction, so we overturned it." None of that. But
Hmm.
initially, when I got arrested, they'll talk about paint the picture they paint. But when it's time for them to correct themselves, everything's on the hush hush, and they just want to release you on the back, through the back door. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, so I went back. I came back to the city jail, and in 2010,
Hmm.
April 2010, I came back to the city jail, and if no, not April, maybe February 2010, I came back to the city jail, and by April 23rd is when I got out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
I
Wow.
pled to a lesser charge, so I pled to
Hmm.
manslaughter, even though it really should have been a self-defense. But it's
Hmm.
like I already did almost 8 years, and they're telling me I could get out today. So I'm like, get me out of here.
That's
You
the
know what I mean?
option. You'll take it, eh?
What? Come on,
So
man.
yeah, yeah. That's
What?
true,
So
man.
so that was great, But even then, like I still didn't believe it, that I was getting out until I was out, cause
Hmm.
yeah, I went to court that day and pled, and then I had to go back to the Don jail to get released from the Don jail. And the
Right.
range that I was on, the news traveled to these guys that, hey, so and so got out, he's getting out. And I'm in the cell, holding cell, waiting to get released. And the CEO came to me. The CEO in the Don jail comes to me. He's like, yo, bro, the guys on the range you're on are going crazy. They all like we're telling them we're gonna lock them down, but they refuse. They don't care. They're just happy for you. So they're all making noise, all kind of stuff,
Yeah.
banging, because they heard I'm getting out. And then, but
Like
I'm
something out
in
of
the
a movie, man.
yeah. So, but I'm in the bullpen downstairs, serious as hell, because I'm like I ain't believing nothing till I get out.
Right.
Because the CEO's
Right.
like, they're going crazy for you upstairs. You're down here not smiling. I'm like, yeah, because I don't believe nothing till I get out. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Yeah, because leading up to me pleading, I had to go back to court so many times trying to get the right deal done and just so on and so forth. So when it finally happened, I wasn't getting too excited until I actually stepped outside and breathe fresh air of freedom, you know.
Right.
So
Right.
that was really dope, you know.
Right. That's amazing, man. That's an amazing story for that to happen, man. That's definitely a miracle, man. What would you
Yeah.
let me ask you this, man. What would you have shared to your younger self, man? Like before any of this happened, like what would you have said to your younger self if you knew that this would have happened? And I know everything happens for a reason, and even though you went
So
through
like
that,
an
yeah,
advice I
like what
give.
advice, what wisdom would you have shared with your younger self, maybe to alleviate him taking that step or taking that path? You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, you know what? Because of the physical abuse I endured, it affected
Mm-hmm.
my self-esteem. So I had low self-esteem.
Mm.
So that's what it was, you know. And so I hung around people and put myself in situations where I really didn't need to be, you
Right.
know. But just again coming from a broken home and having low self esteem put me in certain predicaments. So that's really it. It's just believe in yourself and don't follow nobody. Don't feel like you need friends. Like I'm a person like I'm fine by myself, yo. Like for the rest of my life, where I don't make any new friends, I'm fine.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, I hear
Yeah.
that. Really being happy with who you are as an
Yeah,
individual,
yeah, yo, yeah.
embracing your identity, and yeah, okay,
There's
that's what's up.
power in being alone because a lot of people look at social media now. Everybody wants followers, this and
Yep.
that, and
Yep.
everyone wants to join this political party. Man, I don't belong to nothing. Just
Right.
leave me alone. I belong to my family.
I get it. I get it. Family first, right? Be
That's
first.
it, yo. That's it. I don't care about nothing else, yo. I don't care about
Yeah.
your political party. I don't care about your gang. I don't care about your group of friends and your group chat.
Hmm.
Nothing. I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
not my thing. Yeah.
That's what's up. That's what's
So,
up.
so it's just all about believing in yourself and being cool, being alone,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So in line, man, with your family first, man. How is the choice? How is this choice like you saying, you know what, you're gonna write these 27 letters or these 27 letters to your daughter? How has that decision empowered your relationship with your daughter presently? Has it impacted your relationship? Because your daughter knows now that you made that commitment to say, hey, every month on the 27th, I wrote you a letter. She knows that now, right?
But she's aware of it. But
Yeah,
in the household she lived in, it was minimized. So
right,
she wasn't even allowed to express that. I don't think if she wanted to. And again, like I said, now I believe I don't even know if these letters were read to her. So you
right.
know, coming out, I had we had difficulties reconnecting, you know what I mean? Because
Mm-hmm.
of the home that she lived in. It wasn't like a home that I was, they cared for, they cared for or revered me in. Like it was the opposite, quite opposite. Like they just think like the mother of my daughter. I met her when I was 16. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
when I got incarcerated, I was 23, 24, right? So that's a lot of years. In those years, the family knows me. I'm going to the family function and whatnot.
Right.
I get incarcerated. Not even one letter from the family, not one
Wow.
visit. So it should tell you like I was never really, I was tolerated. You know what I mean?
Right.
While when I was out there.
Right.
So like just dealing with that, just seeing how that played out affected. I could see how that affected how my daughter might have feel about me or viewed me, because pretty sure certain things were said about me in that household that wasn't in favorable light. So,
Right.
but to be quite frank with you, so she was 10 when I came out, or about to be 10.
So
So
she went in. She was
uh,
one. You
yeah, a year and a half. So
okay?
when I came out, she was 10, right? And in the years post prison, I had difficulty. Like her, myself and her mother, had a little friction, which was kind of strange to me because it's like I I don't. Later on, she admitted because I confronted her one
Mm-hmm.
time. I was like, "Yo, why did you acted the way you acted when I first came out?" Because I remember she was just mean to me and whatnot. I don't know what it was with her, but she
Mm-hmm.
eventually said she was bitter when I got out. which tells you that she had her own issues within herself, and like she has her own, and she wasn't being honest about maybe how she feels about me. Because when I came out, I wasn't really looking to build anything with her. I just wanted to build with my daughter. So, you know how that goes. You know, children become weaponized. You know,
That's
so
true. That's true.
so um, for years, you know, just trying to build relationship. And then I remember one time, me and my mother got in a big argument because I'm trying to figure out how come it's so difficult for me and my daughter to connect and so on and so forth. And we were about to have this deep conversation, me and my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
This was in their house. She had moved out at that point and had her own apartment. And her mom barges in and just disrupts the whole conversation. Like she knew
Right.
what there was some family secrets that she was about to
Cheers.
reveal.
Yeah, yeah,
And then
yeah.
she came in and basically was like, and then for like a
Not
year,
today.
yeah, so like a year, I didn't even see I didn't go around because it got to the point where I remember she made a comment like, "Oh, yo, call the cops." When she mentioned it, it's not like I was doing anything, but it was like this argument got really heated. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna fall back. So for like a
Not worth
year,
it
I didn't
right
even
now.
go around. I didn't even go around. So just think
Yeah.
about it. I went through all this stuff with my daughter, not seeing her, and now I'm even out, and I'm still dealing with the nonsense, you know. So, but eventually, after a year, you know, I kind of, you know, try to connect with her again. But again, she's getting older. Things are still being said. She's probably confused about, yo, what's going on with my dad and so on. So how come he's not around? But yeah, she's got to side with the mom because and the family, whatever. You know. And then right before she graduated high school, I called her and her mother because it just became a thing where I was like, man, why am I even trying? Like, because
Mm.
I realized if you can't recognize the effort I'm making, because what I was waiting for her to do is just make the move on your own. Don't rely on your mom or whatever issue, whatever you think is going on. Me and you could build that relationship minus your family, your mom or the family, your mom's family involved,
Right.
but she never took the steps. I I know I have ideas of why. You know what I mean? Again, she had to deal with some own within that household because again, just because there's two parents in the household doesn't mean the household is not toxic. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
there was some toxicity going on within the household, and which hindered us from even building.
Right.
So around right before she got graduated high school, I just told her and her mom, like, yo, listen, I'm done trying. I'm done trying. At that point, I already moved on. I had my two sons. My two sons, and would you believe shortly after
Mm-hmm.
I let go of trying with her, my empress got pregnant,
Wow.
and we had a daughter.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, and then having my daughter really opened my eyes to some of the wounds that I had that I didn't
Mm-hmm.
even know existed because now I'm experiencing like, you know, I had my two sons, but then having my daughter put things in perspective for me as far as what I missed, what was taken away from me, what I threw away in getting incarcerated. And
Mm-hmm.
then so there's some wounds that she helped me. She like having my daughter, you know, my last born was was very enlightening and revealing to me about, you know, some of the wounds I still had to heal from.
Mm-hmm.
So
Powerful, bro. That's
yeah,
powerful.
it's been therapeutic having this little girl in my life. She's 5 years old now. It's
Yeah.
like it's crazy. It's
Yeah.
crazy, you know.
Yeah. It's the
Like
thing about.
I never heard my oldest daughter tell me she loves me. You
Wow.
know, but my youngest daughter will randomly tell me every freaking second, minute, like randomly. You know what I mean? Like it's
That's
crazy.
amazing.
It's
That's amazing,
crazy. Yeah, yo.
bro. That's really dope. So let me ask you this, man. So how did you navigate the obstacles of reintegrating after incarceration, man? Like, after
That was
being time, how did you reintegrate, man? How did you navigate that challenge?
well, you know,
Mm-hmm.
to be quite frank, one of my biggest life cheat was, and I don't know, as a man, you gotta have a good woman in your life.
Mm-hmm.
I know what it is not to have one, but making a choice and deciding to really settle down and start to build a home post prison with
Mm-hmm.
this with my empress is what has helped me, is set a foundation for me to be able to really reintegrate into society. You know, even with her being by my side, it was still
Mm-hmm.
difficult. But yeah, I was just just when I came out, and it's like people knew that like had no jail rust. You know, I just got back to it. I was volunteering, doing different things, trying to figure out where I want to go because I was like in my early 30s, mid 30s when I came out. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So like some of these programs that's out there is only for people
Until
from
35. Yeah.
yeah, so I had to figure it out on my own. There's a lot of things I had to figure out. I failed a couple of times. I got taken advantage of by different, nonprofit organizations and whatnot. So
Right.
yeah, but I figured it out. So eventually, as technology, YouTube was huge. Oh my God, YouTube has been, what I mean, I'm a YouTube scholar. YouTube
Right.
was big for me, yo. You know what I mean? Without you, shout out to YouTube, yo. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, without YouTube, I would be struggling still, But that's helped, So yeah, I was able to learn different things off of YouTube and just figure out the whole internet game and so on and so forth. Now I'm in a comfortable place where I have a nice idea of what I need to do, So
Mm.
now there's different things I'm involved in. I became an author, a vegan chef, so I wear different hats just
Talk to
because.
us about that, man. So you went from that and then you transitioned into entrepreneurship on so many levels, man. Talk to us about that, bro.
Yeah, so like even film and photography, like when I first came out, when I was incarcerated, I always thought about the type of friend I was to my friends out here. So one of the things they were into is doing music. So I was like, I picked up a camera because I can't really do music with them.
Mm-hmm.
So I picked up the camera and learned the camera. I couldn't even afford a camera. I just had an iPhone. I kind of played with the iPhone for a while. Then eventually I got a camera, and then that got me into I did a few music videos, and so on and so forth. Now I'm into more than just music videos, doing documentaries. I have some screenplays that I want to film, so. Yeah, so I got that going 1206 Studio, and then as far as me being a vegan chef, growing up in Nigeria, I don't know, the culture is just meat meat
Mm-hmm.
centered. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but eventually, while I was incarcerated, I slowly started changing my diet. Because I
Mm.
realized it wasn't beneficial for me.
Right.
Like
Right.
I got into physical fitness while I was incarcerated, so that's big for me. So eventually, I went from stop eating chicken to stop eating fish. Over the years, and then just became vegan. And then I would have dinner parties when I came out, just invite friends over, cook. That turned into, hey, yo, can you cook this for me for this? I'm having an event, cook this. And then eventually it turned into Five Principles Cuisines, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's the
Right.
same way I started selling weed, but instead of selling weed, now I'm selling
Positive.
food. You
Right. Right.
know what I
Right.
mean?
Right. Right.
So
Right.
yeah, so and then again with the frustration of dealing with the mother of my daughter when I came out, my firstborn, that got me to publish the letters I wrote my daughter, the 27th letters.
Mm-hmm.
So that got me into writing. So I published the initial 27 letter book in 2017. Now about a year ago, I republished it and did a revised version with reflections. And then also post prison. Remember how I told you about the guys in the down jail, how they were happy for me when I got out.
Right.
Well, I didn't want to forget about them. So a lot of them were still, some of these young guys were still just about to start this journey of facing life in prison. So
Mm-hmm.
when they had court, that's another thing. It's like when you get incarcerated, not too many people is there. The courtrooms are all often empty. When you're on the block and you're out on road, everybody's your friend. But
Mm-hmm.
when the, when the
You
ish
gotta
hits,
do
hits
something
the
right.
fan, when
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
ish hits the fan, you're by yourself.
Yep.
I know. So I've been in those shoes, so that got me to start going to the courthouses and sitting in court with these in the audience with just supporting the man that are facing life in
Mm-hmm.
prison or whatever the case they're facing,
Mm-hmm.
and so that was the basis of my second book, which is the Timekeeper of Justice. it's kind of loosely based on me going to court and sitting in and hearing some of these cases. So that was the catalyst. So that, and then I recently got into, because remember I was reading those children's book, right?
Hmm.
My daughter. So I recently published my first children's book called Uncle's Monster Truck, which I wrote like years ago. And
Nice. And
the
you
backstory.
have a copy with us so we can see it. We can
Yeah,
put,
yeah, yeah. Let me just
yeah,
put it out here.
yeah.
So this is my first children's book. It's called Uncle's Monster Truck. So
Nice.
that one's loosely based on my friend who one day he left his truck with us because he met a girl in Montreal, and he
Mhm.
had to go to Montreal to go see her. So he left his truck with us, and back then, before I had my last two children, I just had a son.
Right.
He looked at the truck, from his perspective, from his POV. It's like a monster truck to him, but it was just a regular pickup truck, but
Right.
so it was like Uncle's monster truck. He wanted to go for a ride in it. So I wrote a story about him going for a ride
Nice.
in Uncle's monster truck.
Nice.
And then in the last year, I recently published, again, the mother of my last three children. We've been together for 15 years, pretty much since I've been out. Um,
Hmm.
I really appreciate, based on what the experience I had with my firstborn
Yeah.
and her family and the in-laws. When I met my empress, the woman I've been with the last 15 years, her mother was so welcoming to me. So like she holds a special place in my heart, because
Right.
again, I've seen the opposite of that. You know what I mean? So when she welcomed me with open arms, even with my background, So last year, a few years ago, she turned 78, and she's a big baseball fan. Matter of fact, she's probably watching the baseball. So she's a big sports fan in general, because she's a Yankee, right? She
Okay.
grew up in Indiana, but she married a Canadian, moved up here. But
Okay.
she's always, if you know about Yankees, they love the sports, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So she's a big sports fan. So, and me too, So we
Right.
connect on so many levels, and then she's got a great heart.
Yeah.
So on her 78th birthday, she came out here for a visit, and we went to the Jays game. And so that whole experience I turned into a book. So so this is my latest book,
Nice.
Grandma's 78th birthday. So I
Oh,
published a book on that and wrote about that experience, that whole day of her celebrating her birthday and so on and so forth.
nice.
I
Nice.
have so many other books and poems. I have a book of poems that I'm gonna publish. This
Yeah.
eventually I'm gonna publish another book
Really,
for, as far as a recipe book, vegan recipe book. So there's a lot down the works for me. So
man.
yeah,
I
man.
commend you, man. The effort that you have taken to really truly bounce back. You know what I'm saying? Even though, in spite of what you went through and that experience, today, you're an entrepreneur, you're, a restaurant owner, all these different things that you've done in spite of the obstacles that you were faced with, man. So I commend your courage, commend your dedication, and really God really working in your life to really you being where you are right now, bro. So that's a big deal, bro. I
Yeah,
don't take
thank you.
that lightly, man. I salute you, bro. Real talk.
Thank you.
I
Thank you.
mean,
And I also have a podcast too as well, where I'm able to sit
yeah,
down with other people who have interesting stories, because I feel like it's important. Just like you're giving me a platform,
right.
I think it's important that we share and become more transparent. The more transparent we are as humans, the better we are. We're going to be able to relate, and not only that, evolve. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
so yeah,
That's
I have 27th letter podcast based off my book, 27th letters. So I have a
yeah.
podcast, so that's on YouTube. I have I've sat down with various people like Cabral Richards, and just to name one of the few people that you
That's
would know. Yeah,
that's
yeah.
awesome, bro.
Even
So how do people
even
start
Jeru. Yeah,
your podcast?
I don't know if you know who Jeru the Damager is. He was the first person I interviewed.
You asking me that? Come on, man.
Nah,
I
yeah, he
know
came
who
in the
Jerry
city.
Damager is, man. I might look young.
Yeah. So he came in the city, and I hit him up. I'm like, yo, brother, let me interview you. And he wasn't too
That's what's
sure,
up.
but in last minute he was like, yo, come through. And then like I was fanned out. Like
Yeah,
if you look at the comments of that interview, people have
yeah.
shitting on me because I'm just like fanning out, because it's Jeru, like come
Yeah,
on.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't, yeah, So
That's
yeah,
amazing.
and there's other people, there's guys that are currently incarcerated. I sat down with, I interviewed, like
Nice.
Lamar Skeet, free Lamar Skeet. Look up his interview and his story. He was wrongly convicted.
Right.
I went to his trial, and they railroaded him.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so there are a few other people that I sat down with, and so
So
on and so.
you also you make it an effort to kind of give a voice to some of the folks that were in your situation, so that they have a voice and they can be heard in spite of what.
Definitely, definitely. This is
Hey,
what
bro.
I'm saying. There's a lot
Yeah.
of unjust things that happen. There's a lot of amazing stories out there that's currently being played out in real time.
Right. Right.
So yeah, so that's one of the things I do, that I enjoy doing. And
Yeah.
sit down
Yeah.
with people and just have this conversation and just, have a better understanding of who we are collectively.
Yeah. That's what's up, man. So how do people find you, bro? Like, how do they find you if they want to connect with you? How do they get a book? How do they go to the restaurant? Like, how do they find you, bro?
So right now, as far as the book, you can go to 27letters.com. The books are there. You go to the tab where it says published books. 27th letters, 27THLETTERS.com. And then I got 5 principles cuisines. Okay. So that's my vegan meal prep service. So it's an online. I don't have a physical space, but I do operate every 6 weeks. We do a vegan brunch, or you can eat
And
brunch.
I'm gonna try to come to that one, bro. I know you
Yeah, we
said
have one come. We have
try to
one coming up on the 19th. So if you
okay.
want to attend that, you can go to IG. There's a link there, or just simply go to Eventbrite and look for 5 principles cuisines. So we have all you can eat vegan brunch that's coming up. So every 5 weeks, 5 to 6 weeks, I have that. And what else? And as far as film and photography, right now I have some screenplays that I'm working on. There's some scripts that I have that I wanna film. So look out for those. And again, 5 principles cuisines. I'm on IG, TikTok. Uh, as far as 27 letters, the same thing. I'm on IG, TikTok. My own personal page is Lanre Obey on Instagram. LANREOBEY. You can hit me up there. And also, there's been different organizations that's kind of hollered at me to kind of come and speak my truth, speak my story.
Yeah.
One of the last ones I did was with John Howard Society. They actually had me out to their AGM. They had a 3-day AGM. I was the last speaker. So they actually got me. It was at Horseshoe Valley, and we got a room. They were so gracious. They were so hospitable. They got me and myself and family a room for the night, and so on and so forth. So got out there and we spoke, and a few people were crying, when they heard the story, when I spoke on the story.
Oh, yeah.
You could actually watch that talk on 27letters.com. I mean, on my on YouTube. So if you want to check out that talk that I had with John Howard Society, and then
Awesome.
also got contacted by Dixie Bloor Neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
So Dixie Bloor Neighborhood Center, uh, they contacted me, and they heard my story, with writing my daughter letters. So they run a program called the Dad Hero Project. So
Mm,
yeah, so basically it's about helping men who are coming out of prison, helping them reconnect with their children.
mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I facilitate programs with them, just helping the guys who are coming out.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah, so different things is going on, So
That's
yeah,
amazing,
that's
man.
yeah.
Amazing that you have the opportunity now on this side to really make changes and make a difference in the world, man, because of your experiences and the journey that your life has taken, man. So
It
we
was
we
written, brother. It was written because
yeah.
I told you when I left maximum prison, I would sit in a medium prison and stare at the gate and picture myself coming out. Like literally.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, no, literally, I would sit there for like half an hour just picturing myself leaving the prison.
Yeah, yeah.
And eventually, it manifested, and that's what happened. I eventually got out.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah.
So I can't just go through all that and just crumple it up and just act like nothing happened and just go live a regular life.
Right, right, right.
It's incumbent upon me to do something with the story, with the lived experience,
Yeah.
because I know there's a lot of people that could benefit from it.
And we are, man. Like today,
Yeah.
Champions Table, we've benefited from hearing your story. Love Bay Radio, online radio, we've benefited from hearing your story, man, because it's a powerful story of really, resiliency and strength and courage, man, really to get to where you are, man. So we wanna, on behalf of Champions Table of Love Bay Radio, man, I just want to thank you for, you know, sharing this space with us today, man, and really sharing your story and being a light, bro, and showing people that regardless of how your story starts, it doesn't have to finish that way. You know what I'm saying? So yeah,
Listen, you control the pen, control the narrative.
right.
Like there's no if and or buts about it. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
control the narrative. If you find yourself around people who don't care for you, leave them. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like leave the province, leave the state you're in. It's no problem.
Right,
Reboot yourself in elsewhere. Go where you're celebrated, not tolerated. You don't
right,
have to.
right,
The family you're born into is not. You're not. It's not the family you need to stay with. You could build
right,
your own family. You know what I mean?
right.
Straight. So yeah,
Facts, bro. That's facts,
don't be
man.
don't be afraid. Don't ever be afraid to be alone or to start over.
That's
No
what's up.
matter no matter how old you are.
Yeah, yeah. You heard it. You heard it. Don't be afraid to be alone or start over, man.
And
So
one
yo,
thing I wanted to mention is
yeah, yeah,
that talk that I had with John Howard.
yeah.
The theme for that talk is
Yeah.
called "The Storm Provides."
Mm.
So within the storm of your life, there's provisions within it. It's up to
Yeah,
you to look for it.
yeah, yeah.
You
That's
know what
what's
I
up.
mean? The storm provides.
That's what's up, bro.
Yeah, yo.
Yeah,
It's,
man.
it's
That's
no,
how we
it's
go.
no, it's no, it's no different from when Tupac said the rose that grew from the concrete.
That's what's
You know what
up.
I mean?
That's what's
So
up. Yeah,
yeah.
that's awesome, man. Thank you for sharing, man, once again, bro. And
Thank you for
here,
having me.
yeah, man, we're glad to have you, bro. We're
Try to
privileged.
hey, listen, if you're in the city of Toronto,
Yeah,
come to our brunch on the 19th, October 19th. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
11:30 to 2. That's when we
And what's
have
the
this.
location? What's the location?
Let me just pull it up. I think
Yeah,
it's
pull it up for us real quick, bro.
yeah. Let me just pull it up. Yo,
Yeah,
give
yeah,
me a
yeah.
second, brother.
No
Let
problem.
me let me pull it up right now.
No problem.
It's one. What is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Give me a second. Yes, right here. Yes, 108 Dundas Street West.
Okay. So if you in
So
the
it's right.
city, man.
So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
right. It's right downtown.
yeah,
If you can't, just take public transit if you're not driving.
yeah.
Uh, if you're driving, there's parking right there. 108 Dundas Street West, 11:30 to 2 p.m. October 19th. All you can eat vegan brunch. We're just
All you can
RSV
eat.
all you can eat, and
Okay.
sometimes and depending on how much food is left, you even get to take some home, so your belly's full. Like where do you go to?
Say
Where
no
you go to a
more.
buffet where you bring food home to?
Exactly. That's
Fuck
unheard
that,
of.
you know what I
Come
mean? And then on top of that, everybody that buys a ticket to the brunch is automatically entered into a door prize, into a
on. Yeah.
raffle. So I have like five different prizes that I give people. So you get more than your money's worth, And
Win-win.
again, it's right beside Eaton Center, it's central downtown. You can't go wrong, bro.
That's what's
You know
up.
what I
That's
mean?
what's up. You
Just,
heard
just
it here, man. You heard it here, man. So if you're in the city, come through, man. Get some real all you can eat vegan food, man. But yo, once again, bro, we want to thank you for being here, sharing your story with us, man. On here on the
thank you.
chat table on Love Bay Radio, man. And this is what we say every time we're together. Men talk, women talk. Truth can't lie, and the truth will set you free. Have a great evening. Don't forget my man. Look at his books, 27th Letter, and his other children's books, Grandma's 78th Birthday, and Uncle's Monsters Truck. And this is one is called The Timekeeper of Justice. Make sure you check
27,
it out.
27letters.com. You can get them there, and
Okay,
hit me up if you have any opportunities. Let me know. I'm open. Just talk to me. And if you're going through something, just hit me up. It's nothing, yo. We could have a conversation. Hit me up in the DM on social media. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on IG. You can find me on TikTok. You know what I mean?
That's
All the
what's up.
social medias. You know. Remember, I'm an entrepreneur. This is what I do. You know.
That's
Yeah.
what's up. Yeah,
Thank you
thank you
again.
for
Thank you
having us on.
again.
Yeah, man. Thank you for being here, man.
Salute
And
to you.
until next
And
time, yeah. Salute,
salute to you.
salute. Until next time, folks. Peace
Appreciate
out.
it, brother.
Yeah,
Appreciate
appreciate
it.
you, brother.
Peace.
You already know.